Hello and welcome. I'm in Kazan, and with me today is India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, who is the man in the middle of all the action that is happening on eve of the 16th BRICS Summit that is taking place in this Russian city. And of course, he is at the forefront of organizing India's participation, Indian big delegation coming here. So welcome to this interview or chat, whatever you want to call it, and thanks for your time.
Welcome, Nitin ji.
Let me start not with BRICS really, which is an obvious question, but India-Russia relationship. It's been a long-standing, trusted friends. Both of the leaders of Russia and India are close friends. They've been meeting regularly. We also see what's happening. Where do you see India-Russia relationship at the moment, and what are the highlights of that relationship?
Well, India-Russia relations have been expanding within the framework of a special and privileged strategic partnership that the two countries have. What we have seen in last few years, trade volume increased significantly, reaching almost $65 billion a year. The trend continues, and in July, when Prime Minister visited Moscow for the annual summit, the leaders set the target of $100 billion by 2030. Since then, we have had a number of joint working groups meeting, and steps have been taken to resolve the issues that the traders and business community faces, facilitate trade settlement in national currency, for which a number of Russian banks have opened escrow account as per the regulations of Reserve Bank of India. We also see progress in the implementation of the projects like Kudankulam nuclear power project. We have also been importing fertilizers from here, which is very essential for food security related issues. On the other side, we have increasing Indian exports also, which in fact increased by nearly 1/3 last year. And both the governments and the concerned departments are engaged in resolving some of the issues of market access, non-tariff barriers, so that we are able to attain the target that the leaders have set, that is $100 billion by 2030. In the years to come, I see India-Russia relations further deepening. We are working to open 2 more consulates in Russia, including one in this beautiful city of Kazan, where we already have more than 1,000 Indian students.
Right.
Also, business communities are there, and there is tremendous interest in Indian culture in this city. So with the opening of the consulate here and also in the industrial city of Ekaterinburg, our relations are just unidirectionally expanding.
That's right, absolutely. You in fact mentioned students, and I must tell you anecdotal evidence. This morning when we were flying from India to Russia, from Delhi to Moscow, the flight was half full because of students coming to take admissions in the first year of their MBBS degree in Russia. And I think some 240 students have got admission this year, is what they were saying. And most of them were from my state of Maharashtra. So I could ask them why you're going. So they were all very excited. It seems that is one of the growth areas as far as Indian students in various professions coming here. I heard in Sochi there are some sports science or sports management schools which are also attracting Indian students. You see that also being one of the key factors?
Absolutely. In fact, while majority of Indian students in Russia are in MBBS courses, But we have tremendous potential for higher level education in a number of fields, including engineering, industrial processes, sports you mentioned. Russia has very significant facilities for training in that field, and so students and the sports persons have also been coming for various short-term and medium-term courses here. One important area that now we are working on, and there is interest, is mobility, and the sides, the concerned departments are engaged on issues related to that also. Skill development comes within that framework. Higher education is expanding area, and as our own domestic new education policy starts having impact and effect in the Russian academic circles, I see a growing interest on the part of Russian higher academic institutions to cooperate with
have collaborations
with their Indian counterparts.
Oh, that's great to know. The other aspects one has been watching for some time, of course, the Indian approach of buying large scale oil from Russia has been one of the key factors in keeping the oil prices down. But that's an economic kind of relationship. But how do you see the Eastern Economic Forum contributing to India-Russia relationship?
There are 2-3 very important parts to this. One is new routes of connectivity, and in that Chennai-Vladivostok Eastern Maritime Corridor, as it is called, has been working quite satisfactorily. Volumes of coal and other commodities are using that route. Also, north-south international transport corridor is something that we are working on. There is also growing interest in northern sea route, for which the concerned departments have been engaged. And as a matter of fact, just last week, the first meeting of the working group in that sector was held, and we hope that this will give a boost to a new trade corridor, but also build capacity in terms of ship construction for that route.
So before I come to BRICS per se and what you expect here in the summit, one last point about India-Russia relationship. Defense has been one of the key factors in India-Russia trusted partnership over the years. Space, atomic energy, you already mentioned, Kudankulam for instance. How is that relationship at the moment? Because there are areas where India is diversifying its sourcing of defense equipment, also going in for Atmanirbharta in defense like in everything else. Has that affected India-Russia defense partnership in any way, or is it still as robust as it was?
Not only as robust as it was, but also expanding. Because one of the agreements that was signed when Prime Minister visited Vladivostok in 2019 was manufacturing of the components, Russian systems that we use in India. And so that is transforming the buyer-seller relationship to joint work, joint production, and joint design and co-production. So AK series of rifles, 203 is a good example, but also in other fields. A number of items are now actually being manufactured in India with collaboration between the concerned companies and units of the two countries. So I see this relationship expanding and transforming to suit Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat.
That's wonderful to know, because everyone is now buying into that idea that India has floated. that while we want to do it ourselves, you can be our partners rather than just exporters. I think Russia is also, like we are pointing out, is also buying into that idea. Yes. Quite a bit. Coming to BRICS as such, it's an important summit meeting, and there is in the West there is a lot of interest about whether this BRICS will also see revival of RIC, Russia, India, China, trilateral. But I'm not going there at the moment. What do you expect this summit, BRICS summit, to actually achieve, or what are these objectives this time?
I would not prejudge what the leaders talk and decide.
Sure.
What I can say is that as the founding member, India's commitment is strong to BRICS and cooperation within BRICS, which is primarily focused on economic cooperation. And in that respect, the increasing role of Global South developing countries in multilateral institutions, reforms of global governance institutions, enhancing multipolarity in the world. All of these would be discussed. Also, sustainable development, cooperation and sharing of experiences like Prime Minister's Life Mission, lifestyle for environment, which is a very viable and sustainable way to achieve and mitigate the adverse impacts of climate change.
Sure.
So this summit is particularly important because it is the first summit that is taking place with the addition or expansion of BRICS, now BRICS Plus. So agenda is full, and Sherpas have been working for last few days here in Kazan, and when the leaders meet, of course the reports will be presented, and after discussion we expect that very set of useful and pro-development, pro-economic cooperation outcomes should be visible.
That's great to know. We will wait for the outcome. Like you said, we can't prejudge what the leaders will decide. One final question, which is of great interest in India because of the developments that have taken place between India and China on the border issue, the standoff and otherwise. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping's bilateral meeting is building a lot of expectations everywhere, not just in India or China, but elsewhere in the West too, because they're keenly watching. What's your sense?
On the sidelines of BRICS Summit, Prime Minister will have bilateral meetings. One of them is with President Putin. There are other that we are working on, and given the scheduling of these meetings, we will let you know once we have clarity on which other meetings would take place. But surely there would be bilateral meetings on the sidelines. Yes,
it's good to know, because President Putin himself had expressed his view that he wanted to meet Prime Minister here. Yes. He's already declared that there's going to be a bilateral, and as a host, I'm sure he meets everyone. But this would be particularly important because of the Ukraine-Russia mediation or peacemaking effort that India is making. But that's good to know. You are in the middle of a lot of work, so I won't hold you back. Thank you very much for your time and your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you.